Twitch.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? So we've got a lot going on today, which is good. Um, Let me just check something. There you go. So markets are down, right? They were down in Asia. They're down in the United States, down significantly. So the Russell is actually in correction territory right now. NASDAQ is close to correction territory. So what did Dan Ives call it? He called it white knuckle events, right? Because everybody's holding on like, oh. Let me tell you something. If you have sitting on the side, now is the time to start considering doing a bit more research, truly understanding your entries and exits, and absolutely investing deliberately. Why do I say that? Because right now could be an opportunity to buy into certain things. However, I'm also looking at a falling dagger at the moment, right? It's good to start doing research, continue doing research, but taking a deeper dive into that research. There are certain things that could wind up being oversold. That's a possibility. Tech sector is hurting. Precious metals are hurting. We're talking like down, a couple of them down like 10%. So is this an opportunity to buy certain things? I would tell you, yeah, it's probably an opportunity to buy a few things. But would I be waiting, me personally? Yes, I would be waiting a little bit because I don't want to try to catch a falling dagger. I really don't. So I'm going to sit and I'm going to wait a little bit. And I'm going to see how everything, pans out. I'm also listening to the rhetoric that is coming out of this current regime. Why do I say that? Well, saber rattling will get you into more trouble. Not having a plan will get you into more trouble. Not having the Strait of Hormuz open will get you into more trouble. Yesterday, I reported that we have several countries that are already rationing energy. Slovenia, India, Japan, like a lot of countries are either rationing already or developing a plan to ration. That ought to tell you how serious this problem is. It's a massive, massive, massive problem. And it winds up being a windfall for other countries that we don't necessarily consider friends of the United States. Straight up. So I'm listening for the rhetoric. Why? Because those are risks that you don't know when they're going to come. So now there is a threat on the table that if Iran does not open up the Strait of Hormuz, you're admitting that they control the Strait of Hormuz by that moment as well, that we're going to, quote unquote, obliterate their oil infrastructure or whatever. That word seems to get used too much, the word obliterate. I don't think they understand what that word actually means. But that word rocks the market. That's a problem. We don't need certain things rocking the market. What we need is stability. And we don't seem to have a path back to stability at the moment. Now, there could be countries in the area that would be happy to see Iran take a fall down, but at what expense? At what expense? I mean, the global economy is hurting right now. Nobody was prepared. Nobody was prepared for what's going on right now. So nobody's energy needs were shored up beforehand, anything like that. Right? Now, had a little bit more thought been given to this, we would have prepared for this years ago. We would have started preparing. Renewable energy projects coming online and getting completed and all this good stuff to reduce our need on, fossil fuels. And that would have been something that would have happened around the world. Even Middle Eastern countries know that oil is not going to last forever. They're not going to have that roaring income forever. So even they're investing differently. And that's what I'm talking about, is how is that going? Something else that's going on. Did you know that the ECB is actually considering, that's the European Central Bank, is actually considering 3 rate hikes. 3 rate hikes. Possibly even starting as soon as next month. What does that say to you? Some people say, well, it says that they don't know how to manage their money. Well, possibly. right? Possibly. But they've got to manage inflation. Inflation is already here. It's already a problem, and it's starting to move in the wrong direction. So that's something else that we have to put into our calculations as we, manage our bags. Right now, I feel like I'm managing my bag, not growing my bag, right? And that in and of itself is an issue. So ECB, imagine 3 rate hikes. Now, imagine the United States coming in saying, "Oh, well, we're going to do rate cuts." What? With inflation the way it is, you're going to do rate cuts. I told you the job of the chairman of the FOMC or the job of the FOMC is to manage possibly the most difficult thing in terms of managing the economy in the United States at the very least, right? You've got to manage between job growth and inflation. That's not an easy thing to do. It's not easy at all. And so raising rates, lowering rates, back in the day that used to work to manage inflation and, try to spur job growth. Job growth right now, or jobs in general, are being affected by what we're calling the new renaissance introduced by AI, right? So the changing of careers is completely out of it's totally different now than what it once was. You could lower rates, companies would go get more money, go hire some people. That's not what's going on right now. They're going to invest in technology. They're not going to invest in people. I got a number wrong the other day. Jensen Huang didn't say $5,000 in tokens used. Jensen Huang said, if I have a $500,000 engineer, I expect that engineer to be spending $250,000 a year in tokens. The average salary in the United States, I believe, is under $50,000. So that would be the equivalent of what? 5 people? I mean, not engineers, but you know what I mean? And you could even get really good engineers at, 100. Even if you said 125, that's still 2 good people. But imagine that number. Now imagine the insanity of the statement. Because what you're saying is, I want my $500,000 engineer to use $250,000 worth of tokens so that somebody can buy my chips. Do you see how that works? You see that? You saw that, right? Okay. So when I see that, I'm sitting back and I'm wondering, so what companies can actually afford that? That's the insanity that I'm seeing. Look at that, my logo's not up. So when I'm looking at everything that's going on right now in terms of how the economy is going, and I'm looking at AI and how it's going, and agentic development and how that's going, even Mark Cuban has come out and said, listen, banks are the reason to blame for their own plight, because they don't want to upgrade their processes. They literally, he's saying exactly what I said. They rested on their laurels. They sat on their butts. They had all this time to do a whole bunch of stuff. And now, because a new jack comes along, now they're crying. Now they're worried. You want to know something else that I'm going to point out? When fintechs came along, banks didn't cry a lot. They were like, but they didn't cry the way they're crying now. They did not cry the way they're crying now. Yeah, they put up a little bit of fight, against fintechs and things like that. But wow, blockchain comes along and they're losing their minds. That ought to tell you something. Banking is going to change, and it's because traditional banking chose the course that it's on. Again, like I said, you could have, from this point, you have 2 choices. Going down this road, you can see an end. Going down this road, the only thing you see is the horizon. Why would you continue walking down the same road? Switch over to the other road and walk down that road. Because this road ends, or that there's a problem on this road. You can see the pothole, you can see the construction, blah, 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 blah. You see all if it's a highway, you see all the red lights because it's starting to come to a stop. Get off the exit. Get off the exit. Start going down a new road. Go take another path. And they sat on their butts and they chose not to. So what do you have going on right now? You have fintechs embracing blockchain. Why? Because they're younger, they're smaller, they're more nimble, they're more forward thinking. They're all about focusing in on certain things that they can do very, very, very well and leaving everything else alone. That should have banks worried. I've been saying it for years. And you guys know it. You can look back at the videos. I've been saying it for years. Banks need to redefine what a bank does. What does a bank bring to the table? They need to redefine that. And they have not. Instead, they go whining to Congress and lobbying for, more rules against blockchain and blah, blah. Like what? No, step up your game. We're all being charged 50 bazillion different fees for different things every month for no reason. Oh, I'm not holding enough money in your bank, and that's why you're charging me a fee. And then when I'm finally at a point where I'm holding up enough money, I've got enough money in your bank, you change the amount of money. I mean, I remember when having enough money in your bank account was like 100, 250 bucks. Then it was 500, then it was 1,000. Now for a lot of these banks, it's $2,500. Oh, you want free checking? Oh, that's $2,500 that you have to have in the account. What they're worried about is a whole bunch of people coming to the bank and saying, yeah, let me have my money, please. I'm going to put it over here because I earn more over here than I do over there. And banks are going to freak out. Banks are absolutely going to freak out. If you look across the United States, you have smaller banks merging. Want to know why? Because that's the only way they're going to survive. Because they're basically a big bank, just smaller. So they can see that, we're not going to survive. We're not going to do well as these tiny standalone banks. Let's merge. So you see a lot of small bank mergers. Read the articles. I have a few articles in there about mergers, about bank mergers specifically. These are things that we're paying attention to. Just saying. MicroStrategy CEO reaffirmed Bitcoin commitment with 104th purchase, aiming to exceed 761,000 Bitcoin. Michael Saylor's not playing games. He's not. The Pentagon did request $200 billion for the Iran conflict efforts. That's right. I'm not calling it a war. Congress determines if something is a war for the United States. So thusly, it has not been declared. So it's not a war. It's a conflict. It's a very expensive conflict. You're going to ask for $200 billion. I want you to think about this. $200 billion to go fight this war. But you can't have DHS say, if we're going to send ICE agents to airports and they're untrained to do most of those jobs, they're most untrained anyway, that's wasting money, isn't it? Why not divert some of that money and pay the TSA agents who are trained to do those jobs and let them do those jobs? We don't seem to be good at managing money anymore. So I've got to put that. Yeah, everybody thought I was going to talk politics. I'm not. I'm saying we have a problem managing money as a country. So we've got to start thinking about how that's going to affect our respective bags. Now, I heard somebody this morning, I was, because I always listen to news while I'm trying to get my work done. And he said that, well, right now we're actually recommending people buy U.S. Treasuries. And I sat there and I was dumbfounded. I was absolutely dumbfounded. Like, that's a safe haven. And I sat there and I was just like, there's no way in the world I can consider U.S. Treasuries a safe haven. I cannot. Maybe it's me, and it probably is because I'm sick in the head, but still, I just can't consider it a safe haven. It's really a nice cup of coffee. Now, you know what's funny? YouTube is telling me I have 0 people watching, and that's weird. That would be ultimately weird. I've never seen that before. Well, I've seen it before, but it's always been that somebody's watching over on YouTube, but my numbers here are actually wrong. That's like the worst. More news. I'm going to try to rifle through these news items as quickly as possible so we can get to the numbers. So BitThumb CEO Lee Jae-won faces reappointment after a $43 billion error, 6-month suspension, and $132 million phantom fund scandal. BitThumb's been going through it. BitThumb's been having problems. That's a South Korean or Korean exchange. Bitcoin fell from 126 all the way down to 60 last year. Now we're currently at 68, 67, that kind of number. We were higher last week. We were higher the week before that, and we seem to be going in the wrong direction. Gold hit $5,600 an ounce in January and has dropped to $44.97 right now. CZ addressed crypto growth and Binance misconceptions, outlined U.S. crypto hub conditions, and discussed his memoir written during, his prison term. Here's something to think about, though. Something that he said just struck me differently, and it was that he thinks that the U.S. could become a crypto hub. Let that wash over you for a minute and it'll hit you. That's right. It's hitting you that he said could become. Holding that in the back of my head as I move forward. Then you've got banks tested tokenized deposits with Citi, JP Morgan, and UK Finance, advancing blockchain integration, while ECB plans a digital euro by 2027. You see how things are shaping up. New York Stock Exchange removed options limits for 11 crypto ETFs, aligning with traditional commodities. That is a huge deal, impacting major ETFs like BlackRock's IBIT and Fidelity's FBTC, signaling institutional confidence. Like I said, things are changing, and they're changing right in front of our faces. So every time I hear somebody that's saying, I don't know about crypto, I don't know if I want to touch it, I sit here and I look at this news and I'm going, do you read the news? Do you do your own research? Do you know what that actually means? It means not listening to talking heads, but maybe hearing something and actually going to look it up. Just saying. It's an idea that I've been pushing for a while. You must practice the GMB3, which is do your own research. Know your entries and exits. And that has several meanings. And then also absolutely invest deliberately. That also has several meanings. Right? I have a book out. Go to Amazon, check out my 2 books. One is Crypto Foundations for multi-generational wealth, and the other one is it's all the way over there and I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's the GMB3. You can literally search for GMB3 on Amazon and bam, I'll pop up. Go get those 2 books so you can get a better understanding about what I'm talking about. These books are not meant to tell you what to invest in. They're here to teach you to go get your education in investing. Give you a foundation on what crypto is. Take that philosophy of the GMB3 of do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately, and give you an idea about how you can actually put that into practice across 3 different areas. That's the idea. This community is all about increasing our knowledge so that we can do better. Whether you're a chief cook, bottle washer, doesn't matter. We can all do better. And those books are meant to help you do better. What other news do we have? We've got South Korea's stablecoin balances fell 55% to $188 million as investors shifted to equities. AI agents threatened to disrupt online advertising by bypassing the distraction era, meaning every place you look, there's an ad. You go to social media, there's an ad. And then here's the thing that they're doing latest. Making things not look like ads. Making ads not look like ads. So I know a bunch of you are out there, you're doom scrolling and you scroll and you hit this one thing and you go, wow, this seems interesting. And about 5 or 10 seconds into the video, they've drawn you in 5 or 10 seconds into the video, then the thing pops up and says it's an ad. Yeah, I block all of them. I block all of them. Why? Because I don't like that. I'd rather you tell me you're an ad right up front. And if I'm interested, I'm interested. And if I'm not, I'm not. To me, it's not deceptive. It's sneaky. You know what I mean? They're not trying to deceive me. Well, a little bit. But it's sneaky. I don't like that. And because of that, another part of the news, a lot of people are moving to decentralized social media networks. Ooh. or they're moving to, paid networks. Why? Because paid networks aren't playing those kinds of games. Grow My Bag is a paid social media platform. To become a baseline member, just become a regular member. It's $12 a year. Not a lot of money. What do you get for that? Over 14,000 articles, tons of research, just a whole slew of information that can help you grow your bag. Just saying. And of course, it's a full-blown social media platform. So chatting with your friends, DMing, taking part in the several feeds that we have. Yeah, you can do that. Want to join a specific investment group? You can do that too. So if you manage investment groups, you should probably reach out to us. We probably have a platform for you, right? We probably have a far better platform for you. Just something to think about. What else do we have? We've got global markets and crypto dropping amid U.S.-Iran tensions. And notice how it's U.S.-Iran tensions and Israel's not mentioned there. Yeah. Just saying. Meta developed an AI agent to streamline decision-making for the CEO. Yeah, this is how far it's going. Anyway, there's more news on growmybag.tv, all the articles. I mean, I had like 21 different articles this morning. Go check them out. I'm not going to be able to get to everything. Go check them out on growmybag.tv. You'll be happy. Now, what else should we do? Yeah, that's right. We should get into the numbers. So let's go do this. Let me get my notes out of the way. All righty. Dow futures implied open 386 down. S&P futures 63 points down. NASDAQ futures 260 points down. Oil up to 98.79. US 10-year is a positive 0.041. Yeah. And that ultimatum to Iran, that's going to backfire. That's going to hit in terms of how it affects the markets. It's going to hurt. It's absolutely going to hurt. We also have bad news this morning. There was a crash at LaGuardia Airport this morning in New York. 2 pilots from Air Canada were killed in the accident. Just that's sad. And then everything shut down at least until 2 p.m. today, until they can figure out what happened. It crashed into a ground truck. So my heart goes out to those families. What else do we have going on in terms of who's reporting? I don't think there's anybody here that I care about today. Maybe one or two. Yeah, no, not really. Western Copper and Gold Corporation, that caught my eye. Blue Moon Metals, that's another one that catches my eye. Yeah, that's about it. There's nothing else here that really catches my eye. All right, but pay attention to, I'm telling you, Yahoo Finance has I've got friends over there, Jared Blickery over there. I do his show a lot. Did it 3 times last year, probably be back this year. You have a lot of great information over at Yahoo Finance. Just saying. Hey, what do we have? We have the Chicago Fed president speak. You have more Fed speak from the Federal Reserve Governor Stephen Miran. Not sure. There you go. Okay. And we have construction spend. We have other things that are happening this week, but nothing huge that I can see. But we'll cover it every day like we normally do. Crypto Fear and Greed Index is in single digits. It's at 8. That's a big drop from last week being at 23, right? Still extreme fear. The current total value locked is $93.392 billion. Bitcoin is currently at 68,488. Look at this number. Look at this. We dipped below this trend line, but we seem to have been following it for a little while, and then another drop. And I suspect that we'll see another drop at about 60 down to at least 63. That's what I suspect. And we have another 13 and a half, 14 hours for that ultimatum to kick into effect. That's when I expect the drop. Just saying. And we would need serious positive news for the markets to change. You can't threaten a country that is digging in because they believe that they have nothing else to lose. History is repeating itself. We should learn the lesson. Just saying, there are better ways to bring this to an end, to bring this to closure. And I think that can absolutely happen. And I think those ways are going to wind up prevailing. And I think that we need to be mindful of it. We need to be mindful about how we're covering this. We can't be, just out there with no plan. I feel like we're out there with no plan. I'm not seeing a definition for success being defined by the United States. I hear a lot of rumors coming from other countries. This is what we think would be quote unquote success. They don't want to go on record. It's very quiet, whispered in the background, because they don't want to say that they agree with everything that the United States is doing right now. Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. Like, what's the definition of success and how do we get there? How do we get there? Just saying. Looking at it from a big board perspective, looking at this, I'm saying, yeah, there are tons of things that I could be buying right now. It's the same culprits: BTC, ETH, BCH, XRP, Solana. If you're into that kind of thing, no, I'm not into Tron, but you have to acknowledge that you could have made money on Tron. You want to know who should be afraid of Tron right now? Solana. And I'll show you. Here's Solana sitting at 49. Here's Tron sitting at 29. Do you see what's going on over here? Solana is down 30% year to date, while Tron is up 8% year to date. Just saying. Just saying. I'm not a fan of Justin Sun, which is why I won't touch Tron, but Tron is making moves in the right direction. Another one that's making moves in the right direction, Hyperliquid. Look at Hyperliquid year to date, 45% up. Just saying, there are very few coins that are in that space. Just saying, something to pay attention to. Let's go over here, take a look at the GMB crypto tracker. Let's take a look at the losers first. All right, anybody up here that we care about? We drop, is this whole list? Nope, we stopped right about here. So if we're looking at the top 25, we're at the bottom 20 that are definitely meeting my 5% rule. Immutable is down 6% with a GMB X factor of 61.74. Mantle is down 6.42% with a GMB X factor of 3.17. Yes, I do own a bag of Mantle, and yes, I'm holding on to it. Axie Infinity, a coin that I used to like back in the day, is down 6.89% with a GMB X factor of 157.56. No, I haven't had a bag of Axie Infinity for like an eon. Who else is up here that I'm paying attention to? Quant is down 7.27% with a GMB X factor of 5.21. Akash is down 7.42 with a GMB X factor of 14.01. Caspa, I know that certain people follow that. We got them down at 8.06 with a GMB X factor of 5.11. Who else? That's it. Let's switch over to the winners. On the winners side, this is nuts. This is insane. Siren ranked at 46 on CoinGecko with a change of positive 38%. And there's an article on the site right now that I published this morning, or that the team published this morning, about Siren and about how people are thinking there's a lot of insider trading going on. Yeah, just saying, pay attention. Pay attention to what's out there. Siren's been up like hugely. Yesterday, I noticed that Siren was up like 151%. Yeah, I'd be thinking about that. It's got a GMB X factor of 0.49. Midnight is up 8.45% with a GMB X factor of 1.58. Dash is up 6.11 with a GMB X factor of 44.4. And Kite, something I recognized last week, is up 5.23% with a GMB X factor of 0.41. So pay attention out there. Like I said, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. It's going to be important for you to manage your bags and be more focused on managing your bags. Increase your knowledge about investing so that you can fare well, or at least protect yourself. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you like the daily, and this is what we're doing in the mornings. If you like what we're doing, do me a favor, smash the hype, smash the likes, and absolutely tell your friends about GrowMyBag.tv. Why? Because this is the only community, the only social media platform that's built for you to invest your brain in yourself. Invest in yourself, because that's what you're going to need to do in order to survive. Anyway, everybody, I'll see you tonight on The Overflow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you have